I'm sorry. Have we met before? I have this problem. It, it has to do with shitty movies. I'm sorry. That's it causes me to not remember. And I'm John Stark from ActTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And today, Russell Crowe is starring in Memento. Wait a minute, that can't be right. Again, this is like a memory thing for me. So let me just check my notes. I'm looking at my hand as if there are notes written on it. There really aren't, but it's for dramatic purposes. Oh, this is called Sleeping Dogs. Um, and yeah, let's talk about it. It's currently on Hulu without audio description. To be fair to Hulu, I haven't seen this movie offered anywhere with audio description. I don't know if it was ever one of those mystery movies that was released in theaters briefly. You know how they do that? They just kind of like fill a theater with a movie that you're like, what is that? Russell Crowe in a movie? Uh, or they put it at that mystery movies time slot. I don't know if it ever had audio description anywhere, if anybody worked on this. If you did work on this, let me know. Because then I would like to really be upset if there's actually a known audio description track. In the meantime, I'd really like to call out the production company slash distributor for being shitheads. Because this movie sucks without audio description. Hard. Hard. We'll talk about it. Um, Russell Crowe plays a retired detective. Oh, I've already forgotten to introduce myself. See, this whole review is just going to be about forgetting. So I'm wearing a purple hat. It's backwards, and I've got glasses on, and I'm wearing, I think, a Yellowstone shirt. Although the theme of this video is not remembering, so I could be wearing. I don't even know. Am I wearing a shirt? I'm wearing a shirt. Good. Okay, so Russell Crowe plays a detective. Ah, damn, I wanted to mention, so like what's up with these like dementia movies that we've been getting? Like dementia thrillers. It feels very weird and I don't know what the catalyst is for them. Like usually when you see a movie, you see like sort of like the people trying to like make that movie all sort of like very similar movies being released around its, coming after that at the same period of time. Like there were a lot of like Matrix-y type movies around the time of the Matrix, even bleeding out after the Matrix. Films like Existence and Equilibrium and stuff like that were asking sort of similar questions to the Matrix. Then we had Memento, which basically, if Sleeping Dogs had opened a year after Memento, I wouldn't have been surprised. But it's opening this late. And we also recently had, and none of these films are good, Emile Hirsch doesn't know what the fuck is going on in Stream of Consciousness. And Liam Neeson had a thriller last year where he played like a hitman who had Alzheimer's, I think. I don't know, that movie was hot garbage. So these films, I don't know, I don't understand what's up with this genre that we're getting of dementia thrillers. But this is a dementia thriller where Russell Crowe has trouble remembering things and just admits that to everybody all the time. To just basically set people up for, well, I don't need to give him a straight answer. Um, he gets contacted out of the blue by this film's version of the Innocence Project. I guess that's trademarked, and they don't want to be involved with this. So imagine like a film. I can't remember what it was called, but basically that um, about a death row inmate who claims that he is innocent, and they ask this detective to take a look at it. I don't know why. I mean, honestly, the dude worked on the case. Like, why? He's like a former detective. It's like, could you go listen to him? So he goes. And of course, the guy is like, yo, man, I did the wrong thing, but I didn't do this. There's this guy that's coming around writing a book. It gets really dumb. This movie just gets really dumb. Anyways, he felt very stereotypical of like, it felt like somebody was like, how do we write a black man in jail? Let's watch an episode of Oz and then we'll get back to you. And then they wrote this guy. It's like, it's not even like a real performance. It just feels, everything in this film feels performative. So then Russell Crowe goes off and he goes back to his partner and he's like, "Hey, it's been a long time. Yeah, I've been struggling to remember things. I have to like read old case files because I can't remember anything from." And he's like, "You don't remember anything from our days? Do you remember?" He like name drops his like dead wife. He's like, "No, yeah, no, I don't. No." So he's like, "Yeah, I lost her to cancer." It's like, Russell Crowe's the least effective detective ever. It's amazing that he ever wraps this crime up. Because he has to always admit to people he has no idea what's going on. Hey, I have no idea what's going on, but if you could tell me what's going on, that'd be great. It's like his detective skills are so strong that he can still smell through the bullshit, even if he doesn't know what the bullshit is. He's like, hmm. I've been binge watching Poker Face. I think I can figure this one out. Um, so there's this story about this kid that got arrested because he broke into this place, and there was like a professor, uh, and he was murdered, but the kid's like, no, someone else was there, and I didn't see who, but and when the cops got me, I was high, and I didn't know what, like they had me in there for so long that I just I was convinced that I did do it, and that because I was high, and I was like, this this is the reason why you haven't heard of sleeping dogs, by the way. So then we cut to, there's this mystery man that's like writing this book, which Russell Crowe makes a mistake of saying the dude's name to this guy that he doesn't know. He's like, I don't remember anything. I'm trying to wrap up this case that you remember from back in the day. Yeah, it turns out there was this other guy that was there and his fingerprints were all over the place, and we didn't do anything about that. He didn't have an alibi or anything. What was up with that? Shady man from the past that I don't remember much about. And so, lo and behold, guess what? That guy dies. Shock of all shocks. Shock of all shocks. Well, it looks like the case is over, man. Sorry, your one loose end. The one guy that you had. He didn't, he overdosed on drugs. His family says he never did drugs, but man, he did fentanyl. Just hard, I guess. It was yeah, yeah. Nothing weird about that. Let's keep going on in this mystery, though, Russell. Let's keep going. So after that, um, they, he finds a book. Somebody finds a book. Somebody finds the manuscript or whatever, and it's this thing that he was trying to write, which sort of details his history. So then we flash back, and we spend quite a while in the flashback to someone else telling this story, sort of like, as I guess Russell Crowe is reading the book. I don't have audio description, so this is the best you're gonna get, of him going through this. And there's some story about some woman who was wronged by the professor, but he was also, the writer was like obsessed with this girl, and things didn't go out well, and he kind of thought maybe she had something to do with his death. So he confronts this girl and is like, I think you had something to do with your death. Would you like, with this guy's death, would you like to read this book about it? Just like, I hate this movie. Audio description might have made it make more sense, but like when you take the audio, when you force me to watch this film without audio description, it's fucking bonkers, man. It is just. So Karen Gillan, who is arguably the second largest star in this film, plays the wronged college research assistant or whatever, who the professor was trying to steal her work. This gets really convoluted down the rabbit hole. And so yes, it keeps twisting and it comes back around, and somehow magically Russell Crowe manages at the end of this film to survive it and have solved the crime and get credit for it. And he's like, wow, I did it. But like, you're like, how? Like, I'm so lost. I was lost in so many times. He flashes back a lot and you can hear the flashback, right? So like he has these memory, like it's like his memory is trying to come back, but you don't really know what he's seeing or hearing, which is why this movie is so unwatchable because it constantly is like flipping through time, and that was the best I could make out of it. And it doesn't like, at no point was I enjoying the film. At no point was I like, ooh, this is really creative or this is really cool. I just kind of thought it was all dumb. Like the little parts of it that I could get without audio description were just Russell Crowe walking up to everybody, admitting to them that he couldn't remember anything, which isn't a lie because at the end of the film, he gets like, I guess he was going through some sort of like radical new therapy, and they're like, "Oh yeah, your memory's improved. Look at that, huh? Weird. But you're better. You're a little bit better now than you were before." And so he was like, it's not he's not faking it. Like there's a clear scene at the end where like a doctor is like, "Oh yeah, there's some improvement. Good job, good job, man. We're healing your brain." So he is actually like having, and I think those are like little flashes where he's like, he sees somebody, but it's like out of context. He's like, where have I met you before? How do I know you? You know, from where? From what? Who are you? You know, I mean, but without the audio description to lead us through those moments, you just sort of like hear a sound effect, and maybe like the context of the scene, like if there was a scuffle or sex or fighting, something, you know, whatever it is. I don't know. You just hear like sort of like the little moment where it's like, get off me. I don't know if that was ever a scene in the movie, but that's basically about how long these things last. And you're like, I don't know what that was. I have no idea what just happened. So I always take the implication that if somebody doesn't provide audio description for their film, that they assume that that means that their film is watchable without it for the audience. That they believe that the film that no, this is not. I'm sorry, this is not. You have created a rather convoluted derivative of Memento plot, um, where he has to keep explaining that he has a problem, just like Leonard Shelby always tells people that he has a problem, and it just doesn't work. Russell Crowe feels like he could have done this genre though. That's the one thing, is I now have watched a couple crappy movies with Russell Crowe in them where I'm like, he's not bad. He just needs better people around him. Like, he could have done that sort of like Philip Marlowe thing, you know, like that. He sort of is in his bogey stage where if he wanted to do sort of like a Maltese Falconish type thing with the right director, he could pull it off and it would be pretty good. But you have to have the right director and the right project and a good script. And this is that had none of these things. I love Karen Gillan and I loved Selfie back in the day. I'll put that on video out there for the world to know. When Selfie got canceled, I actually was upset. I was getting into that show. I was one of the few people who was like, Selfie's good, guys. It's really fun. It was because of her. And I really enjoyed her in Guardians of the Galaxy. Uh, I thought she was really good in that Mirror movie. Whose name I'm struggling to remember. I just remembered she was in the movie with the mirror. You know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I like her. She's not good in this. She's I don't know what she's trying to do here. She's trying to play that femme fatale thing. It doesn't work for her. I even liked her. She did like a Netflix movie. Was she in Gunpowder Milkshake? Um, yeah, I generally like Karen Gillan. I did not like her in this. The role does not work for her. She seemed very lethargic, trying to come across as a femme fatale, which wasn't working for her. I assume it was the lack of direction from whoever was directing this, which I don't care to look up because it can't possibly be anybody good who I have to like be like, ooh, I'm really excited what other films did you direct so I can watch those, so I can get really into your director's resume. Um, I just don't know why. I don't know what Russell Crowe saw in this script, except for maybe he just really wanted to play a detective. But this is not a good film. Even if I had audio description, I don't think I would. I don't think enough audio description could push this film to where I would give it a fresh. I just don't think it's a good film. So there's varying levels of bad. There's like, what level of bad is this? But I don't. I really just, I can't imagine that audio description would blow open the door for me and be like, wow, this movie's brilliant. I just don't think it's one of those movies, you know? And I've had experiences where before I started using the unwatchable grade, I was grading films based on the experience that I had without audio description. And then I would regrade a film. X went up a lot. First time it didn't have audio description. The second time I watched it with audio description, it went way up. So it is possible when you don't know what you're missing, but I actually don't think this is a good script. It's not just that I think I'm missing things and those things are making the film bad. I'm not sure this is a good film. And I don't think Karen Gillan is giving a good performance. And the rest of the cast is just kind of like really forgettable. And they're all written in these really just sort of generically stereotypical ways. Like the guy in the prison, I felt bad for him having to deliver his dialogue, you know, and the direction he was given was, could you be really stereotypical? Could you just be a walking stereotype? You know, that would be great. um, just, it's so weird. This film is so weird. Yeah, but luckily I don't grade films anymore without audio description. They get one grade, and that is unwatchable. Unless for some reason it is watchable. There are, every once in a while, usually a documentary, every once in a while, I'll grade a film. This is not that. This is actually not even just me being pissy. This is truly that you'd have a really hard time with this film. I would not recommend this to a blind or visually impaired person, just because of all of the times that he flashes and you don't know what's going on. There's a lot of silence too. It's not really a dialogue heavy film. And so like you're just sitting there like listening to things. I actually really started to appreciate the score. It's got a really nice score to it. That's one positive. I should put that as a positive. It's like a really string heavy score, and I was like, I could fall asleep to this score. This is a really nice sort of like, it's not really specific. Like, I'm never going to be like, ooh, that's the Sleeping Dog score. But like, it's the kind of music that you could play in the background. You could be like, I'm going to sleep now. The string music will play me to sleep. It does have some thrilling moments where it tries to get more interesting, but so do sometimes like string quartets. They have moments where they get more exciting and then they go back down and they're just kind of like underlying music. It was pretty. I'm not going to knock the score writer. The score writer and Russell Crowe, they're fine. Whoever wrote the score and Russell Crowe, they're fine. Everybody else, I don't know. I'll put you in a boat and send you out into the ocean, and you can think about what you've done here. Anyway, thank you. Thanks for watching this. Please click like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the other side.